Hi friends! So we're back to our chapter book and we're going to be reading the first part of chapter 6 today. The moment she was out on the bridge, she wanted to turn around and run back to the proc. There was a cool breeze blowing and the bridge was swaying. She could see between the wooden slats to the foaming, rushing river thousands of feet below. The noise of the waterfall was terrifying. She looked back. The proc raised his arm. "Go on, Miss Lindy. Once you get started, it doesn't seem so bad. Just make it halfway. From there, it's easy." Lindy walked on and tried to keep her head up. It was better if she did not look down. She thought of her brothers and wondered what they would do while she was gone. She remembered how sad the Whangdoodle had looked when he talked about being lonely, and how important he had made her feel when he asked her to try to bring the professor back. She clutched the gold ring he had given her and quickened her pace. She looked for the professor, but he was nowhere in sight. "Professor! Professor!" Her voice echoed from the chasm. "Professor!" She cried louder, but there was no reply. Lindy ran the remaining length of the bridge. Looking around, she remembered the dreadful Gyascutus and hoped fervently that the Whangdoodle would keep his promise. "Professor, where are you?" She noticed a bright clump of yellow flowers on the ground ahead of her. As she watched, they moved slightly. With a jolt of happiness, Lindy realized that they were not flowers at all, but the yellow butterflies on the professor's open umbrella. "Hello, hello!" His head appeared over the rim. He looked startled. "Lindy, good gracious, what are you doing here all by yourself?" "Oh, Professor!" She ran to him and flung her arms around his neck. "I thought maybe you'd gone back without us or something." "But I told you I'd wait for you." "Why were you under the umbrella?" "Ah, well, if you recall, I was fighting with the Gyascutus when you left. The wretched creature knocked me out. When I came to, the monster had disappeared. I didn't want to take the chance of his coming back and finding me, so I camouflaged myself with the umbrella. Thought he'd mistake it for a bunch of flowers." "That's what I thought it was," Lindy said with a smile. "Now what's been happening, and where are the boys? Did you see the Whangdoodle?" "Oh, golly!" She sprang to her feet and began to pull at his sleeve. "Come on, Professor, you've got to come with me. It's terribly important. The Whangdoodle wants to see you." "What?" "He sent me to get you. The boys are still in the palace. We can't get home because the proc has their scrappy caps. So you've got to come and tell him to let us go." She urged him towards the bridge. Wait a minute, Lindy. I can't cross the bridge. I told you I couldn't." "But you've got to. I came all this way to find you and bring you back. You just have to get across. The Whangdoodle is waiting to talk to you." "Why would he want to see me?" The professor was puzzled. "I don't know. He seemed really serious about it. Look, he sent you this ring." The professor turned the ring over and over in his hand. "Amazing. Just amazing." He looked with desperate longing across the chasm to the glittering palace. Lindy suddenly knew that she had to be very firm. "Take my hand, Professor, and come with me." "I can't, Lindy. I would give my soul to come with you, but if I can't see the bridge, what can I do?" "You can see the Whangdoodle's ring, can't you?" she cried. "Yes." "Well, that proves that the Whangdoodle is waiting for you. It proves that there really is a bridge, too, because how could I bring the ring to you otherwise? All you have to do is trust me. The bridge is there, I promise. You only have to walk across." "But I don't see it." "Then don't look. Keep your eyes on me. Hold my hand and don't look down whatever you do." He hesitated, and she gave a small cry of frustration. She pulled him towards the edge of the chasm and began talking, saying the first things that came into her head. "It's such a little way across, really it is. Just make it halfway, and the rest is easy. Oh, Professor, wait until you see the inside of the palace. You won't believe how beautiful it is. It's shining and cool and peaceful. There's room for everybody in the whole world, but it isn't at all a lonely palace. Keep looking at me, Professor. Hold my hand tighter." She walked slowly onto the silk bridge, and the professor took a deep breath and followed, never taking his eyes from Lindy's face. "You'll see the most beautiful gardens, with such flowers and fountains. The trees are mostly bright, bright blue, but the undersides of all the leaves have a different color. Some are emerald green, some are white, and some are pale yellow. You'll see. There's music about the palace all the time, a lovely sound that makes you feel calm and happy. There are flutterbys and pretty flags flying in the breeze." Lindy gave a quick glance behind her. They were halfway across the bridge. You're going to love the Whangdoodle. You were absolutely right about him. He's the best creature you could ever meet. He's funny and nice, but he's lonely. I think he misses our world and would like to come back, only he says he never would. He has the dearest, sweetest tooth. He says you must be a very clever man, and I told him that you were, and that you knew all about life and everything. Lindy, the professor hesitated. Don't stop now, she said in a clear voice. We're almost there. Only a few steps more and you'll be off the bridge. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you are, Professor. You've made it. I told you it could be done. Here's the Proc. He'll lead the way from now on. Lindy let go of the professor's hands and stepped back. She was trembling from head to foot. The professor looked around, dazed and bewildered. He looked at the Proc, looked at Lindy, looked up at the shining turrets of the palace etched against the clear red sky. When he spoke, his voice was husky and his eyes were brimming. It is every bit as wonderful as you said. Oh dear, oh dear. Lindy was as happy and proud as she had ever been in her life. The Proc led the way into the palace. And we'll pause there before part 2 of the chapter.